Hi everyone, I just wanted to touch base and talk about what I'm currently up to. I am about to sit a lot of exams, so I've got 3 exams to go. As a part of the Juris Doctor program at the University of Sydney, you have to do a full-time load, which is 4 law subjects. In the first 2 years, you do core subjects, so that's a full-time load is 4 subjects per semester. Now, because we are humans and because there are things that come up, and I've got work this semester, I've got other commitments, and so does everybody else in my year and people that I have met. Everybody has work and commitments and other things, and 4 subjects a lot of the times is quite impractical when you are trying to work and do other things, and you're not trying to kill yourself completely with all of the readings and all of the things you need to do to keep up and do well, because marks are actually important in law. That's something that I wasn't as aware of before I started my degree, and then it kind of dawned on me that, especially because the Juris Doctor is a 3-year program, the first year that you do your core subjects, which are actually quite important because there are things like contracts in there. Sydney Uni does this weird thing where we've got torts and contracts as one subject. That comes in semester 2 of the first year of the Juris Doctor program, and you need to do really well in those things. And being a first-year student after not having studied for 7 years, I was quite overwhelmed, and the study that you do for law is completely different for if you study commerce, for example, which is what my undergrad was in. It was completely different. The amount of prep work that you need to do before lectures and before seminars is very important. If you want to make the most out of your seminars, it's important to do pre-readings. You need to understand the cases, because the lecturer and the tutors are not, mostly they don't go through the cases in detail. They will just give you the key principles, which is what the most important thing is when you're reading a case and you want to cite a case. But if you want to do well, you have to understand the differences between different facts that occurred, the things that happened to the people in the cases, and what makes a certain situation different. And therefore you can say that if you have a problem question, you can distinguish something on the facts, which means that even though the principle in a certain case was X, you will not be applying it to this current set of facts because it's different because of these certain elements. And that's why it is very important that you keep your mind on the details. So that was different in law versus commerce. Another thing was the amount of time that it takes to prep for a seminar or a lecture. With commerce, it was, you had to write an essay, or you had to read a couple of articles, and that was fine. You could do it in a few hours, and it was actually possible to do an assignment and do well in an assignment and do it in a few hours. With law, you can't do that. You have to be on top of your studies the entire semester. You need to spend hours and hours doing research, and referencing is a whole other ball game, because there is a Australian guide to legal citation, which you actually have a book that tells you how to cite legal sources, and they're all different. So it's very important to get that right. So if you don't quite know how to do that, I actually spent my first summer after the first year learning how to do that, because I knew that that was something that was giving me stress. And it still gives me stress, but now that I know where to go, I've created a shortcut spreadsheet for myself, which I keep on Google Drive, so I don't have to go back to the book or the PDF document, which is like 500 pages. So you discover little hacks and things, and because the degree moves quite quickly, I think it's very important to as much free time as you can get, which there isn't much, but within that spare time that you iron out the kinks in where you think your weaknesses are. So for me it was, I struggled with citation, so I spent some time really learning the rules of citation and what that means. Also, like, in terms of understanding different cases and how to cite different things, whether it's reported cases, whether it's unreported judgment, all of these things. So it's all of these details that really make a big difference to how you study law in the long run. Having said all of that, it's now my penultimate year of the Juris Doctor program, and I am commencing a clerkship shortly at one of the international law firms in Sydney. I'm currently paralegaling there in the government litigation team, and it's been quite an interesting journey. They do really interesting work. It's the core of administrative law, which I had no idea what that was until I actually did admin law as a subject last semester. And a lot of it is government decisions on certain elements. So immigration cases are a big one. There's a lot of skilled migration visas, refugee cases, and sometimes it's appealing grants and other government decisions that the AAT, the Australian Administrative Tribunal, have to deal with. And it's contentious areas of the law that you really need to understand and grapple with, and being able to represent the government is actually quite interesting. So that's my life so far. I'm planning on finalizing my exams and doing this clerkship, and afterwards I will have one more year to go, and then I have to think about, you know, when to do my practical legal training, which in Australia you have to do to become admitted as a lawyer. And yeah, we'll see how that all pans out, but I will be sharing more about this career journey that I have.